In just a few years, Jojo Siwa went from the rainbow-crowned icon of childhood innocence, the girl selling 80 million bows and smiling on Nickelodeon, to one of the most controversial figures on the internet. Today, headlines don't call her a role model, they call her a scandal magnet. So what happened? How did a beloved teen star, once the face of empowerment and inclusivity, spiral into accusations of infidelity, a public identity crisis, canceled tours, and a collapsing music career? This isn't just a celebrity misstep. This is a rebrand gone horribly wrong, and it raises an uncomfortable question. What happens when a child star grows up under the harshest spotlight imaginable and loses control of their own story? Because with Jojo, the world didn't just watch her success, it watched her unravel. And what comes next could decide whether she makes a comeback or fades into scandal. Jojo Siwa didn't just step into fame, she blasted onto the scene. At just 10 years old, she was that unstoppable spark on Dance Moms, a blonde blur of rhinestones and raw energy, standing out even among the cast of prodigies. By 13, she dropped Boomerang, an anti-bullying anthem that didn't just go viral, it took over. It became a rallying cry for millions of kids who felt unheard. Boomerang went double platinum and crossed a staggering 1 billion views on YouTube, sealing JoJo's place as a pop culture force. Then Nickelodeon came calling, and suddenly JoJo wasn't just performing, she was everywhere. On lunchboxes, on cereal boxes, on toothbrushes, on roller skates. By 2020, more than 80 million of her signature bows had been sold, pulling in an estimated $400 million, according to Forbes. Jojo wasn't just a performer. She was a brand. But the image that made her unstoppable, the high ponytail, the rainbow sparkles, the best friend to every kid energy, wasn't built to last forever. Because eventually, every child star has to grow up. By early 2024, Jojo was 20 years old and restless. She was tired of being the beau girl, tired of parents policing her image. She wanted control of her career, her music, her identity. So, she grabbed scissors. The high ponytail came off. The neon bows were tossed aside. In their place, a sharp pixie cut. She came out as part of the LGBTQ+ community, showing up at pride festivals, waving rainbow flags, kissing her girlfriend on stage. For a while, it felt real. Jojo was celebrated as a queer icon, the first Dancing with the Stars contestant to dance with a same-sex partner. She became a bold voice for young LGBTQ+ fans. But Jojo wasn't just looking to grow up. She wanted to change music itself. In interviews, she made the comment that would set the internet on fire. "I want to start a new genre of music called gay pop." She even compared herself to Lady Gaga, Elton John, Freddie Mercury. She thought people would see it as bold. They didn't. Critics called it arrogant, ignorant. They said queer artists had already built that space long before Jojo came along. And when the backlash hit, Jojo tried to walk it back. She told TMZ, "Madonna, Lady Gaga, Michael Jackson, there's so many people who have made gay pop. I think I just want to make it more clear that gay pop is a genre." She hoped that would calm things down. Instead, it looked like backtracking. The confidence that once made Jojo magnetic now felt shaky. By April 2024, Jojo kicked off what she called her new era. Her first adult single, Karma, dropped. She called it her baby. She promised it would launch her new genre. She hyped it as a cultural reset. But there was a catch. Karma wasn't written by Jojo. It wasn't even her song. She bought it from another artist. And when people finally heard it, they didn't hold back. Fans called it a Black Mirror parody of pop. Some said it sounded like karaoke, just with extra glitter. That gay pop revolution she talked about, it fizzled before it even began. Because what people heard wasn't an artist breaking free. It was someone still trying to figure out who they were. And Karma didn't stop the backlash. It only kicked up a bigger storm. By early 2025, Jojo Siwa's reinvention was in full swing. The bows were gone. The music was dividing fans. And the headlines were louder than ever. So when she signed on to Celebrity Big Brother UK, It felt like the next big step, a way to finally shed the Nickelodeon image and prove she could hold her own on raw, unfiltered reality TV. But instead of proving maturity, the show brought something else entirely. It brought in a brand new scandal. Inside the Big Brother house, the cameras never stopped rolling. And they caught something no one saw coming. Jojo's increasingly flirty connection with Chris Hughes, a 33-year-old Love Island alum. At first, it looked harmless, playful banter, a few inside jokes, but it didn't stay harmless. Chris applied lip balm to Jojo's lips, on camera. They joked about having kids together. They cuddled, they whispered, they giggled under the eyes of millions, crossing lines and crossing trust. And there was one fact no one could ignore. Back home, Jojo wasn't single. She wasn't complicated. She wasn't figuring things out. She was openly dating Kath Ebbs, the Australian influencer she'd called her beautiful, mature partner. The same Kath who stood by her through the karma backlash. To fans, it felt like betrayal, and the internet didn't hold back. Clips of Jojo licking chocolate off Chris's thigh went viral and were dissected frame by frame on TikTok and Reddit. Twitter threads called it emotional cheating, while LGBTQ+ fans called it the rainbow betrayal. What should have been a career milestone, a fun reality TV run, turned into a breaking point. Because after Big Brother, people weren't just mocking her music anymore. They were questioning her character. When the cameras shut off, Jojo Siwa walked out of the Big Brother house and straight into chaos.
What about you just phrased it as chaos, so I'll keep on.
The timeline told the story. She left the show, she broke up with Kath Ebbs, and almost immediately, she went public with Chris Hughes.
I think cut this podcast.
To fans, it didn't look like moving on. It looked like confirmation. Confirmation that the giggles and cuddles inside the house weren't just innocent. Confirmation that the rainbow icon they trusted might have crossed a line. Jojo tried to explain. She told TMZ, "Christopher is not the reason my breakup happened. There were so many reasons. He's not one of them. I did not cheat." But the words didn't land. Every explanation sounded like spin. Every denial felt like damage control. Because it wasn't just the breakup that hurt people. It was how it all happened. For years, Jojo built her image on rainbow flags, on same-sex dances, on being a queer role model for kids who needed one. And now, with one very public relationship shift, some fans felt like that entire identity was being treated like a costume, worn for applause, then tossed aside. Of course, sexuality is fluid. Advocates reminded everyone of that. But for many, this wasn't about who Jojo dated. It was about trust. And trust, once broken, is the hardest thing to win back. Through it all, Jojo did what she's always done. She kept working. She released more music. She pushed out more videos. She doubled down on her rebrand. But this time, the backlash only got sharper. Her single Karma had already been mocked as hollow. Then came her cover of Betty Davis Eyes, and it was ripped apart online. The vocals were drowning in auto-tune. TikTok users compared it to a haunted Furby and an anti-smoking PSA. And it wasn't just the sound. The look turned heads too. For the video, Jojo ditched her glittery neon style for pearls, red lipstick, and a prim blue dress, straight out of the 1950s. Some fans dubbed it her trad wife era, joking that she looked like she was about to bake a casserole for a black and white dinner party. What was supposed to be a bold, artistic pivot instead felt like costume play, leaving fans wondering who exactly was Jojo trying to be now. Even the original singer chimed in with a line that stung and said, "There's a difference between singing a song and embodying it." It was brutal, and it went viral. On TikTok, Jojo's teasers pulled in millions of views, but the comments became the real headlines. "You have a hidden talent, keep it hidden," one person wrote, and that comment racked up more likes than the video itself. To some, this looked like failure. To others, it looked deliberate. Commentators accused Jojo of rage baiting. leaning into the backlash, inviting ridicule, turning herself into a lightning rod for clicks. And it worked. The views poured in, the memes spread, her name trended everywhere. But ragebait comes with a cost. Because the internet wasn't just laughing at the music anymore. It was starting to laugh at JoJo herself. And then came the moment that made even JoJo's harshest critics pause and wonder, is she doing this on purpose? It started with a TikTok, a simple game of 2 truths and a lie. I've never smoked a cigarette. I'm pregnant. My new song drops Friday. It was meant to be a joke. It wasn't. Within hours, the internet went into full detective mode. Fans zoomed in on every clip. One frame of Chris Hughes hugging JoJo, his hand brushing her stomach, became Exhibit A in what TikTok gleefully called Wombgate. Reddit threads labeled it the ovary zone. TikTok comments read, "Baby Siwa dropping this fall," as if the internet had just been handed its next celebrity pregnancy mystery. Eventually, JoJo admitted the pregnancy claim was the lie, but then casually added, "Wait, I have smoked before." The joke soured fast. To fans, the stunt felt manipulative, another cheap trick to chase engagement. To critics, it felt flat-out insensitive, especially for women struggling with infertility who said JoJo had turned a deeply painful topic into clickbait. And now, the backlash wasn't just about bad music or a messy breakup. JoJo was being accused of something more calculating, using rumors as weapons, treating controversy like currency. And in that moment, her rebrand tipped from messy to something darker. By mid-2025, the jokes weren't funny anymore. The gossip wasn't just about karma, or Chris Hughes, or the pregnancy rumors. A Rolling Stone investigation dropped, and it hit JoJo where it hurt most, her brand. The report dug into XOMG Pop, the girl group JoJo and her mom, Jojo Siwa, had built up as the next big thing. But behind the glittery costumes and bright smiles, former members told a much darker story. They spoke of grueling rehearsal schedules, long filming days, and being pushed to perform even when they were hurt. One girl said she was back on stage just weeks after spinal surgery. Others remembered being filmed while upset and being told to cry harder just to create good drama. And behind it all, they claimed, was Jojo Siwa's heavy hand, with JoJo as the public face of it all. Fans who once saw JoJo as a symbol of empowerment were now asking, was she becoming the very machine she once tried to escape? This scandal cut deeper than any meme, because this wasn't just about awkward interviews or clumsy songs. It was about trust. It was about kids, and it made the public and the industry rethink Jojo Siwa entirely. By the summer of 2025, Jojo Siwa's empire was cracking. Her US tour was suddenly canceled. Rumors swirled that Columbia Records had quietly dropped her. The unstoppable JoJo, the girl who once sold 80 million bows and dominated toy aisles, was suddenly still. What was left behind was a fractured image. The child star parents once trusted, the queer icon who became a lightning rod, the rebel pop star mocked as ragebait, and now, a name tied to allegations of exploitation. For Jojo Siwa, this wasn't just a bad year. It was the unraveling of an entire identity. So now comes the question, what happens next? Is Jojo Siwa still on the edge of redemption? Or has the glitter already settled on a career that can't recover? Can the rainbow icon who once symbolized empowerment rebuild trust? Or will she become another cautionary tale of a child star who lost her way? Drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to the Celeb Spring for the next expose.